Hello everybody, I hope you like my new dress. Would you like to come and join me for a sew along? I think that would be great. Hope you enjoy. The other thing that will be on your pattern will be the doll's dress. There's a bodice. You need to cut one bodice and one lining, one back on the left side and one back on the right side, and one skirt cut on the forward. So I didn't have quite enough fabric for my skirt, so what I've done, it wasn't just quite long enough, it needs to be a tiny bit longer. Okay, so what I've done is I've just taken another piece of fabric. This one's got a join in it, but it was just a piece of fabric I was going to use, and I've just gathered it all the way, and I'm going to show you now how to do your gathering. So you need to take two of your threads and you just need to gather them, take the back ones, and just pull them along, and we're just going to gather like this all the way along, like that. And this will just make the length of my skirt a tiny bit bigger for the dolls. Okay, and we're going to gather it all the way until we've got a piece which is the same size as the piece we need for our skirt. So we'll carry on doing that. So always, if you are going to be using a gathering stitch, make sure that you have changed it back afterwards, otherwise you'll end up with the gathering stitch all along off your fabric and it won't look right. So I'm just going to come along, and I haven't pinned this because it's so tiny that it's probably doesn't need pins for this bit. I'm just going to do very straight, and I'm going to come along and I'm going to do it at 3/8 of an inch. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to get that up and then run backwards. You can pin yours if you want to pin it. If you don't want to put this gather piece in at the bottom, just do it, and you've got enough fabric, just use the fabric for it, okay? And there we go. Keep running along. There we are. This was just a nice way to use up all the little scraps which I had left from making the dress. My granddaughter does really love her dolls, and really love to dress them and do their hair. So we'll just pin them up, and we love to work together and, you know, talk about making dresses and stuff like that. She's sort of really into it, so. that off. And now we're going to do the bodices. So we have a back of our bodice and a front of our bodice. We want to put our front of the bodice down so that it's facing upwards, and we're going to put our 2 back bodice pieces down so that they are sitting on top of the shoulders, just like that, okay? And then we're going to just stitch using an ordinary stitch right across this shoulder here, like that. You can pin this if you want to. Still keeping it on that 3/8. Oh, sorry. With the dress, you want to be doing it at 1/4 of an inch, not 3/8 of an inch, okay? And then back. There we go, and across again. And do exactly the same on the other one. So you've got your large bodice piece, and we're going to lay that down just like that. And then we're going to take our small bodice piece and place it on the top, and we're going to just run straight across this one, do a back stitch, and then run it right away. Mine's got a mark on it where it's 1/4 of an inch on my foot, but you can get a foot which is 1/4 inch foot if you prefer to do that. I'll grab some scissors. Just snip the other one off. This will save you a little bit of thread. And then we're going to come across and do our other sleeve. There we go. Put it on there. Move that one out of the way. Okay, I'll pop this one on. There we go. And then run across. Back stitch. And right across again. And then our very last piece for this bit, I'm going to put that one down, and this one, it doesn't matter which way it goes because it's just a lining fabric. So we just lay that one on the top. There we go, move the other piece out of the way, place that on, and I like it just to be on. Okay, so 2 on, a couple on, go back, and then straight across on that 1/4 of an inch. And then finish it back. There you go. And put it off, and there you go. So that's the shoulders of your bodice done. I'm going to go back to the table now and work on joining them together. Okay, so you might like to take these to the iron now and just press your seams open, like so. And the next thing we are going to do is place our shell fabric, which is the main fabric which you'll see on the front, facing upwards, and then we're going to get our lining fabric and we're going to face that so that the 2 seams are visible, they're on the top, okay? And I'm going to face that one on top of that one and line it all up. So just go around, make sure everything is touching everywhere else, like that, and like that, and then we are going to pin it. And we are going to pin it from here all the way up, all the way around, down here. And then we're going to go all the way around there as well, and there as well, okay? So you can put a few pins in on this one. I'm always a bit nervous about going around the corners. When you get to that seam, pop a pin in this side, like that. There, and a pin in that side there as well, okay? There you go. Okay, just like that, and do the same here. Alright, so one in that side and one in this side here. Just like that. Hopefully you could see that where I did that. So you've got one on that side of the seam and one on that side of the seam, just to hold that in place. Pop a couple more pins in, one there, and as you're going around with this on the machine, you might have to move some of these pins, especially like here when you put the pins in here. You might have too many. You don't want it going underneath your sewing needle. That's the main reason why I break my needles, is because going over a pin, and I don't know if it's just my machine, but some people seem to have no problem and sew right across the pins all the time. I really don't like it. It always freaks me out when it breaks because it makes a loud bang, and I always think it's going to shoot off and hit me in the eye, but I've got glasses on, so it would probably never do that. But I don't like going over the pins. I know a lot of people do and have no problems with it at all, but I seem to be every time I do it, I seem to break a needle, and you know, the needles aren't that cheap, are they, when you've got to keep buying new packs of sewing machine needles. So here you want to go in the same, but as I say, you might have to remove, don't push it down too far, because you will probably have to remove it or pull it back, because that's it, and that's laid down on that side as well, because when you're going over here with your foot, alright, and put that one in there, and pop that one in there, like that, and the same just in this one here, put an extra few pins in that, so I probably don't need that many, and then the same here on this side, and this is a bit which I do like to pin and have lots of extra pins into it, like that. Alright, then around the arm, and this is virtually exactly the same as what we would have done on the dress. So if you just would prefer just to follow the dress pattern, you can do the child's dress one. There we go, this is just a bit smaller. Okay, so we're going to take it to the sewing machine, and we're going to put a back stitch here, and we're going to go all the way around this arm, finish with a back stitch, all the way around, back stitch, start here, go all back stitch all the way around, down there, and back stitch to finish. Okay, right, let's go. Spew on, back. Again, I'm keeping it on that 1/4 inch there on my foot. Right, up to the top. Yeah. Okay, and then switch it around. A little bit too far, do an extra stitch. That's it, that's it, that's on the 1/4 inch now. Come around. And you're just keeping that there, right there, look. Okay, keep that, if you can keep that as nice and flat as you can, that will help. Okay, just take it very slow. You can see what I mean. If I'd have pushed that pin right in, it would be under my needle now. So I don't want that. I'm just going to move it just the tiniest bit. Okay. That's it. Just move it a teeny bit more. Still keeping that foot in the right position. And this is the time you can take it slow. Any bumps or lumps coming out. And with doll's clothes, we usually always make it with a 1/4 inch seam allowance rather than 3/8. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna sort of wiggle that out, I think. That's it. Mine is quite fussy about what it likes, my machine. That's gone over that seam nicely, around the corner there and down to the end. And one more. Okay, then turn that around. I'm going to come straight down here. Okay, well done. That's that. Okay. Pull that off. Oh, I didn't do a back stitch. Do a back stitch there. Okay. I'll come back and do that in a minute. Do a back stitch to finish it off. It just holds everything securely. What you can do if you don't want to do a back stitch, when what they do for couture is tie the ends. And I've left plenty there, so I can just go in and tie the end. It stops there being any bulk there on it, and especially if you were using something like a chiffon or something, and you didn't want any bulk or anything there, that would be a good way just to come back in and tie your ends. Go back inside the front of this one and the other one. Just tie them with a knot. And do the same there around this piece on that 1/4 of an inch. This is just a woven fabric. I wouldn't use this pattern for a stretch fabric, because with a stretch fabric you probably would need to figure out where it is, and it might, because it stretches, it might be a little bit big for the doll. You could try it, but I do have lots of other doll patterns on Arwen's Decorating Dolls. If you want to go, and they're all free if you want to go on and look. Okay, and I'll just go and tie those other two, which I forgot to do. So it was, no, that was got a back stitch. This one, wasn't it? Okay, I'll tie that one off, and I will tie this one here off as well. You can always just go in and do another back stitch on it, so I'm just going to pop it in through and do a double knot 1 and 2, and that's all they would do if it was couture, like that, and lay it down for that, and then you would get a nice flat edge there. Okay, right, and then cut those off, and I'm going to do the other one. I'm just going to put on that one, I'm just going to go back and do another back stitch on it there. Okay, there we are, and then I'll finish those off. Right. Okay, we're going to take this to the table now. Okay, so now you've got it laid out and it's all laid beautifully, we just need to come in and we're going to clip up, snip up to those stitches. And you just need to come in about 1/2 centimetre, 1/4 of an inch apart. Just go around. Don't cut over the stitches here in the middle, but you can cut those bits like that. You need a nice sharp pair of scissors to do this. And get as close as you can to those stitches, like that. There we go, around the neck. Don't cut your corners off. If you do go over those stitches, don't panic, just go back and do a tiny back stitch, a tiny bit over where it is you've cut, and then finish with a back stitch. Gosh, it's hard to talk when you're cutting with this. It hurts my hands terribly, but luckily there's not much to do. It's only a little bit to do. These scissors are really sharp, so they clip really hard, easily, but I just find my hands don't work very well. So when you do that bit on, just come around. just pull it through with your forceps, the same way as we did with the dress. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to do is to take our forceps. Now you don't need forceps, you can use a spaghetti scrap turner or something like that. We're going to just place it and we're going to take it right to the very end like that, and I'm going to put that piece of fabric there inside, and I'm going to clip my forceps. Now I find these work the best. You might find that you can do it with just your fingers maybe and just pull it through, or a stick or a knitting needle will help to push it all through, but I like to do it like that. And then here we're going to do our corner again. So find your stitches, fold one end down like that and the other end across, and take your finger and place it right inside where that is, and then flip the whole thing over. Give it a wiggle and you should get a nice square corner there. Okay, and then pull the whole thing out, and that's that side. When you do this, make sure that when you're pulling the actual thing, you're pulling it from the front, the bodice piece, rather than, don't pull through from the back, because you'll end up with something weird. Okay. So grab that there, pop it in there, clip over onto it and pull that through. Now I've put a lot of stuff down to be on Amazon because that's where I found it, but you might be able to find it somewhere else cheaper, so just have a look around and see what you can find. There we go, so you've got that piece out as well. Okay, just grab that one, grab that corner again, push it down like so, and push it across, and fold your corner out and push, just give it a little wiggle and you'll get that lovely square corner there. And it's just quite, not quite there, there it is. There you go, okay, and that's your lovely square corner. So I'm just going to take my finger and push all those seams out like that, and then I'm just going to take it to the ironing board and give it a little quick press. Okay, so here we come to the next bit. Now if you're going to put ribbons in, this is the time to do it. So when you put your ribbon in, you need to put it in so that it is facing the outside of your dress like that. And grab a pin and pop it just in like this. Okay, we only want to pin it to the shell fabric, we don't want to pin it to this white fabric here. Okay, so it's just going in like that, make sure it's straight. I want it up actually as near to the underarm as I can get it, because I've got to put the skirt on. So I want to just leave it a tiny bit out. So I've got to come up. Is that straight? No, it's not straight. I've got to come up 1/4 of an inch to put my skirt on. So I do want it to come up a bit. That's better. There we go. So up a bit there, I think. Let's just measure this. Let's do this one way around. So look, 1/4 of an inch. So that would come up about there. So it could come down a tiny bit. That's it. That's better. And then just pop the other one on the other side. Don't worry about having a twist or anything, because we are going to, and what you can do with this here is just fold it in half so that you're getting them exactly the same place. My bit's gone in there, look. Right, okay. Make sure you're getting them exactly the same. I didn't iron that very well. Just push that like that. Right. You don't notice it so much on a child's dress, but you will notice it on the doll's dress, especially if you're just making these dresses to sell. And I think some people do. make a little business out of it, which is fantastic if you can. There you go. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, you see you've got this piece here at the back and it opens up like that. We are going to join this piece here with this piece at the front, which we're going to open up, and we're going to put these seams together. So you've got this one here, okay, and it's open like that, and then we're going to open this other one, and we're going to put that one, and we're going to just lay them one on top of the other. And what you can do is just open that like that, or you can have one going to the back and one going to the front, and I think I'll do that with this. There we go, one in, pin, two in. What am I going to do about these tables in this sunlight? We shouldn't moan about the sunlight, but I've tried and tried to move everything around in this room, and everywhere you put something, there is sunshine. It's such a beautiful room as well. There we go. Alright, so you've got that nicely pinned all the way across. And I did realise that my ribbon fell out, so I'm going to put it back in. Actually, I can see the mark where the pin was. So I'll just marry that up. Actually, I want my satin ribbon. This has only got satin on one side, so I want to make sure it's going on like the satin side is facing down. We'll just check on the other piece that that's, the other satin face is facing down. That's fine, yeah. If you have got one which has got just the silky bit on one side, make sure it's facing the actual shell fabric. So open that piece up and open that piece up. Place the two seams together like that. I'm going to put one forward, one back. Put a pin in that side. Two. Put a pin in the other side. Get that laying lovely and flat. There we go, and then pin here. And then pin over here. Like that. And then we're going to take this to the machine. We're going to do a back stitch there. Stitch right across and finish with a back stitch. So this is quite a small piece of fabric which we're going to stitch now. So I'm going to try and keep my hand out of the way as best I can. And we're just going to do a few back stitches here. And straight the way across, keeping that on that 1/4 of an inch. Very slightly, just move it like that, very slightly. That's it. Okay, take that pin out, and again. And I'm going to go over that ribbon twice, because you know children are like pulling. Okay, and then just finish with the back stitch. Okay, lift that, and then do exactly the same on the other side. Get it on that 1/4 of an inch, stitch across, stitch backwards, stitch across again, pin out, push that underneath there, pin out, and again, and finish with the back stitch. There we go, so that's that little bodice piece almost done. There we have it. Okay, so So there you can see that sat beautifully in there. You don't see any of those seams at all. It's got a lovely little bodice there. Alright. And your ribbon will come back like that, and that will be out of the way. So now we are going to gather our skirt. So what I'm going to do is change my setting on my sewing machine here to a number 7, and that is my gathering stitch. It's the biggest stitch on my machine. We're going to do 2 rows of gathering. So we're going to do one just up very near the top here. I'm going to lift my needle up a minute. You want a big long end at the end, and I'm going to come in here on the quarter, just before the 1/4 of an inch, about an 1/8 of an inch. We're going to come in and do one whole row. I can just whiz down through this. Don't have to be that neat, but just keep it reasonably straight. Oh, reasonably straight. Close it out. Okay. These stitches will pull out, so you're not going to actually have this on your finished garment. Leave yourself a nice long end, okay, and then come back to the beginning again, and then we're going to come down below that now. Alright, so you could probably say put your foot on the end of your fabric, and then just come along in a nice straight line. Don't do a back stitch. What you want to make sure is that you don't go over the stitches which you did on the top, otherwise you won't be able to gather it in. There you go. Okay, leave yourself a nice big long thread. Okay. Let's go back to the table. Okay. Right, so here is your little top, your bodice piece, and this is your skirt, and this skirt has to be the same size as that bodice. So we're just going to come in, and I've got the 2 back threads, okay, and we're just going to come in holding onto those 2 back threads and start pulling our fabric very gently along. So we've got a nice gather. Okay, just keep going. Quite a bit there. Let's come back this way. We can do the same on the other side. I'd quite like to do that. Grab 2 of the threads. That one's got them. No, I haven't. Got them. No, that's it. Keep pulling along until you get it all the way along. Okay, just keep going. That's it. So you've got a nice gather all the way. And check for size. Do you need a bit extra? Oh no, that's about right. That's, in fact, I think that's probably just a bit too much. There we are. And then you're going to fold this back. You take it to the iron, fold it back once, twice like that, so it's laying absolutely flat, and then we'll machine that down. Okay. So here it is, and I've just turned it down twice. Okay, and I'm just going to stitch down to the bottom of it. so you've got that stitched like that. Do exactly the same on the other side. There we go, so I've just fold it in like so, down like that. You can iron it if you prefer. Drop your foot down and just stitch right up. This just allows that opening where you put it over the doll's waist, because you need it to open a little bit extra, because when you're stitching, when you're putting it on over the dolls, just the bodice isn't just quite enough to open up for the dolls. Don't forget when you're doing your dolls that they may be different sizes, so don't forget to measure them. Okay, so you've got that piece like that, and then you're going to take these two pieces, which are your skirt pieces, join it all together like so, and we're going to come down from this end, because we're leaving that there like that, and we're going to come and we're going to just stitch all the way up to here. Don't just stitch in there and then stop there with a back stitch. Okay, keeping it on that 1/4 of an inch. Right. Making sure those two seams are laying together there nicely. Stitch in there, oops, that's it. Stitch over that and then do a back stitch, that's it. There we go. Okay, and then you should have a small placarded area for your dolls like that, alright. Okay, so let's go and pin this now to your bodice. So, we're only going to pin, same as we did on the dress, to the shell fabric. We're not pinning to any of this white lining fabric at all. We're just going to go to the shell fabric. So we're going to come here and we're going to place these two pieces here right on that seam there. Okay, I'm going to pop a pin in there just like that. I'm just going to take some time going around and pinning this in. Okay, keep looking at your gathers and make sure they're even as you go around. Okay, I'm going to come into the next piece here, put a pin in there, and then I like to go around and catch the other end. Oh, can you see what I've done, look? Oh no, I haven't, that's alright. I was worried then I'd caught my ribbon. Just be careful you make sure that that ribbon is laying down out of the way and it's not getting caught up. Then come in this side and pin this piece here to, pull those threads out of the way there, right, to your other side. Like that. Pull that up inside there, okay. And then make sure that's open on that white. Okay, and you don't want to pin this any to the white at all, you only want it pinning to your shell fabric. Alright, so place that in and pin that to your shell, like so. Okay, and then you're going to come all the way around and pin all of this all the way around, making sure no white goes into it. There we go. Okay, and make sure when you're going around that the gathers are even. And that ribbon stays nice and far out of the way. So I'm going to just come in where I can see that ribbon is, because I want that down out of the way, and I'm going to pin that pin there, and then I will come back and do the other bit in a minute. Okay, there. I want to make sure that pin, that ribbon stays underneath, and I don't want that pinned in. Okay, and then do the same, cut a couple in there. This is where you can add a few extra pins just to make sure you hold it, keep it to that nut line nicely there. Alright, and then around here, pin it here. See, it's not quite enough there. I'm going to put another couple of pins just on that side where I didn't do it. There we are. those gathers are even. Some bits there. Yeah, that's okay, I think. There's a bit there, it just needs a bit more gather. That's it. Okay, and then just pin those in place. And then we're going to take this now to the sewing machine. Just check that you've definitely got you've both got your shell fabric is on the top before you go to the sewing machine, and just check that that ribbon is way out of the way. It's not going to get caught up in there. Okay, and then come back over. Ow, careful with the pins. And oh, I did it again. And we're going to do a back stitch, keeping that white fabric out of the way here, go all the way around and finish with a back stitch on 1/4 inch seam allowance for the dolls. Okay, make sure you've turned your stitch back to your normal stitch if you've just done a gathering stitch. It's really annoying when you get all the way around and you suddenly realise, oh, I've just gathered that again with a gathering stitch. That will not hold if it's pulled around. Okay, so we're coming and we're coming in at 1/4 inch here. There we go. Now we're just going to lay it all out, lay it down, and then what you need to do all the time is keep checking that that's laying flat on the back. Do a couple of stitches on, pin it, and then when you do your back stitch, make sure you're not going onto that white. Okay, just coming in here at that 1/4 inch. Right. Try and get that out of the way so that you can see a bit better. And all the time I'm going to be making sure all my fabric is laying nice and flat. And you'll see me lift it up, and that's to make sure that this bodice is laying flat, and I sort of go like that and push it down so that we're not getting a little tuck like that underneath. If you do get one of those, just go back to where that little tuck is, unpick it, and go over again with the machine, do a back stitch at the beginning of it and the back stitch at the end, and that should be fine. You don't have to go all the way around again. Around, check that's laying nicely, and don't worry about your mistakes. It's a doll's dress after all, and your child will love it, no matter what it's like, whether it's got, you know, a bit of hem longer than the other. They aren't going to bother at all. Okay, we are getting there. So I hope you're enjoying this sew along. Something I thought I would do, because a lot of people have said, oh, it's all right, and you know, you've done the 20 minutes and it's fine, but it's quite quick, and I'd rather sort of sit with you and do it, especially when I'm learning. So I've done it like this, but you're more than welcome to fast forward through these bits. Like this bit here now, where we're stitching this, and just go to the bits which you like. Sorry, I banged the camera there. Just hold that for a second. Yeah, you're more than welcome to fast forward through these bits. Now when you're coming up to the end, make sure that white bit isn't going under, okay? So make sure you're still on that 1/4 inch. You come in here. Okay. That pin out. And I'm just going to come here and do my back stitch right there at the end. Okay, and the back stitch is going to go back there. that is your skirt put on. Right, next, if you've got your 1/4 inch put on, what you need to do now is change it to this skirt, okay? Because we are going to put a zigzag around. Now you don't need to do this, but I'm going to do it just to show you that you can do this if you want to do it without putting this white piece, doing this white piece separately. So just going to come around here, making sure that white piece is out of the way, and we're going to change our stitch to a zigzag. There. And we're just going to come around and we're going to do a zigzag all the way around. If you've got a serger, I don't, but you're more than welcome to do that stitch and then go all the way around. You're well and welcome to serge it now. I'm just doing a straight zigzag straight across all the way along just to keep this in place. You do not have to do this because you are going to enclose these seams, but I just like to do that here. I'm going to do this. Obviously you won't have this unless you've put this extra layer on the bottom, so I would just go around and zigzag that just the way around. Obviously you probably didn't put this extra layer in, so I would just do that one all the way around and zigzag that. That will just stop the all those threads from coming out. Don't get that ribbon in it. There you go, okay. Put the back stitches there. The other place you want to do this is that raw edge right at the very back of your dress, okay, where we put that little piece in at the top there. We're just going to come along here and we're going to stitch right the way up to there and do back stitch to finish. Okay, so come in, just sit on it. Seams together there. And there we go, and then just go backwards. Okay, and there you go, so that's nice and neat along there. Okay, getting there. So now we're going to go and put the hem on. So this is a road hem foot. I can't really get on with it. I don't know why I can't get on with it. I just can't seem to get on with it. It will do you a lovely road hem. You're supposed to pop it in through here, and it's supposed to roll. I've done it the wrong way around. But it rolls, basically it rolls the hem like that on the foot itself, and it sort of like pulls it in like that, and then you can roll it along and it'll stitch it all the way. I just can't get it to work. You might be able to get it to work for you, and if you can, that's fantastic, because that makes a much better job than what we're doing now. Because the best way that I found to do it for me, I don't know whether it's because of my hands or whatever, I'm not sure, but is to take a piece of cardboard, and I've drawn a 1/4 inch line and a 1/2 inch line, and what I do is I hold my cardboard over like that onto the 1/2 inch, and you need to make sure that it's nice and tight to that edge. So you probably want a smaller piece for your dolly's skirts. This is the one I use for the children's skirt. Pull it on like that and making sure it's nice and tight, and then go over it with the iron. This is a cold iron. Okay, like that. And then when you've done that, you need to then turn that piece back under, so you've got it on that 1/4 inch, and then put your iron back over it again, and go all the way around and do that, so that you've got a nice striped ironed hem. Or if you've got a better way of doing the hem, please let me know. I'll be really interested to find out. Okay, so I'm going to go and iron that, so you might want to pause your video, pause the video here so that you can do your own pressing. So I've got my hem all ready, pressed and ready to go, and I'm just going to come in and I'm just going to stitch right here on the very edge of the hem. So I'll just whiz around, back stitch, okay, and then we're just going to go whiz around. Hem done, and then I'm going to take these off with the scissors so that I get a nice neat end in there. I don't want ends hanging on the hem. Okay, now we're going to put our Velcro on the back. Okay, right, all we are going to do is run down here. You need to put this piece right to left. So yeah, we need to put this piece here. So you're going to have a piece of Velcro in there, and you're going to have a piece of the other piece of Velcro is going to be on the back like that. And I had it here just a second ago. What have I done with that? So this is my piece of Velcro, and popped it on. You can pin it. I always find it still moves around, so I'm just going to do some straight stitches right up. Okay, and I'm going to turn it. I'm going to do a few at the top and do it backwards and then forward again. Okay, and turn it again. And I always like to do this because I find that children do pull at the Velcro and it's really annoying when it comes off. Okay, and go down. I've got this very, very thin Velcro. from eBay. I'll try and see if I can find a link to it. There you go, come down to the bottom. It's brilliant because it doesn't pull the doll's hairs too much. And go across and go back. Okay, and then lift that off, and then we're going to do exactly the same on the other side, but on the other side we're going to put it on the on the outside of the dress. So that one was on the inside, okay, and then this one we're going to put here on this outside piece. If I can find it, there it is. Okay, try and get it at the same place, that place at the top as where you had the other one. Alright, nice and close to the top. Okay, put it under. I always have it, it's very fiddly, that's the only thing I can say. I think even if you have a big bit, I find it's very fiddly. That's it. Got it under, okay. Let this back a bit, that's it. Right, okay, and then go on. Do your back stitch. And then we're going to go all the way up, leaving it nice and close to the edge. It was quite expensive, this Velcro. I think it was like £5 for a couple of yards. But I've had it and I've made every single outfit I've made. I've used this Velcro for, and I've still got like half of it left. So it just seems to go on and on and on. So all the dolls' outfits that I've made this last year had this Velcro on them. There you go. Okay, and then just lift that. Do a back stitch, sorry. And there you go, and that's your Velcro on. And you're nearly finished. All you need to do now is to go around and cut off all your threads and you will be finished. No, you won't. Okay, right. So now all we have to do is do our hand sewing and then we will be finished. So the next thing, and the last thing pretty much we're going to do, apart from the ribbon, is just come in and we're just going to turn this under like that, and we're going to hand stitch it all the way around like this. And I'm going to take this in and I'm going to lay it on the bed, and I'm going to do that, or you can sit watching TV or whatever you like and do that. So I've just done the doll's dress and just put it onto Sydney Lee, and she's got it on and it fits beautifully, as you can see. I've cut my ribbon and I had it just hanging just underneath. Oh no, I've catch myself on fire now. I'm just going to cut them at a slight angle like that, 1 and 2. Probably it's not a good idea to do it on the doll, but I wanted to measure how much I needed for the ribbon. And with the ribbon, what I like to do is just burn the edges, right, just like that. Make sure nothing else catches on fire. There. I really hope that you enjoyed our video. Please come back and join us again. If you would like to subscribe to our channel, you'll be really welcome. And hit that bell and it will let you know notifications when I make a matching hair bow to go with my dress and some fairy wings. Also, we're going to be making a dress for spring next, and it looks really super. So come and join us, hit that bell and give us a comment down below. Thanks everybody. Goodbye.